2025. Can you believe it? Yo, peace the ones who passed and the ones who survived. I've been really, really blessed, and I'm thinking that it's time for me to give a little thanks to the rest of the people that really think they coming through. Well, we got a little show to do 25 for you. I can't believe that another year is come and gone, but we gotta go on, gotta move on. You that it's gonna dawn on you that it's a new day. Yeah, we gotta still play, and everything is gonna be all right. You're really thinking we ain't doing this because it's the new day tonight? Here it is, 2025. 2025. And you know, I really thought I was thinking that I wasn't going to do a show. But then again, I was thinking, well, why not? Let's get something on record. Let's get something on record. You know what I mean? Whoever comes. We're not going to be on a whole long time tonight. I just really wanted to go over, I got a little topic for the night. Got a little topic, a little New Year's topic, So I figured that we would go ahead and talk about that. And then we would, go ahead and get on up out of here, get some rest and take care of ourselves, and everything will be all right. So the ball dropped. 2025. Can you believe that it's here? Can you believe that it's 2025? I don't know how old anybody is, but I know that I was born in 1970, and I was never thinking about a time like 2025. Nowhere was that on my radar. When I was a kid, I was always thinking like the year 2000. When the year 2000 comes, I'll be 29 years old, until my birthday came, when I would be 30. But when the ball would drop in the year 2000, I would be 29 years old. And I was also thinking to myself, like, will it be like the Jetsons? Because the Jetsons was always talking about how, in year 2000, we're going to have flying cars, and we'll be able to see each other on the phone and all of that kind of stuff. Well, it took a few years. We still don't have the flying cars, but a lot of those things, those devices, a lot of those concepts that we were watching on the Jetsons, a lot of them kind of came into fruition. So I figured that tonight on the Daily Go-Getimism Show, the first edition, the first installment of the Daily Go-Getimism Show, we were talking about what you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers. What you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers in 2025. What can you reasonably expect? I mean, now, this ain't going to be hard. This ain't going to be no hard exercise, because when you really think about it, what were you getting from your haters and your lovers in 2024? And I'm like, what can be done for you to reasonably, and the key word is reasonably, what can be done for you to reasonably expect something different from your haters and your lovers? Now, you may not be reasonably expecting anything from your haters and your lovers. You may be expecting them to act accordingly, the same way that they were doing last year, in 2023, 2022, 2021, 2020, and all the way back to the day you were born. But when we start talking about your haters and your lovers, well, we might have something that we can talk about tonight. Well, it is 2025. If all acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind, if all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on old lang syne. What's going on, y'all? How y'all feeling? T. Carey Wright, morning, noon, and night. It's always great to have my peoples going directly into your site. And Matthew Wilson, what's going on, my dude? Good to see you. Good to see you all the time. And King Ryder, King Ryder Fafu, what up? What up? And what's that? Was that Tech Cider? Tequila? I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I don't mean to butcher his name. Wait, it's Tech Cider. Tech Cider, what's going on? And Anime Kid, what's up? What's up? My people's Jeff Guapo. I know, man, you on the West Coast. He said it's still 2024. Yo, enjoy it, man. You know what I mean? It's crazy over here in 2025. It's crazy over here in 2025, man. You don't want to, yo. You don't want to be in 2025 yet. It's already wild. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm ready to pack things up and look forward to 2026 if I make it. Kinsley, what up, Kinsley? Thanks for coming through, y'all. Thanks for coming through. And what's that? Hassa Wingate? Hassa Wingate. Hello from Morocco. Morocco. So what are you streaming about tonight? Tonight we are talking about what you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers. What you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers. Now, of course, there's a little twist on this thing. There's a little twist. It's a little itty bitty twist, itty bitty twist, itty bitty twist, itty bitty twist. And we're gonna talk about that tonight. Jeff Guapo said, expect the same thing you got from them in 2024, unless you discuss different with haters. I don't even deal with them. Well, what about your lovers? Because to say that your haters are going to give you the same thing is almost like saying that your lovers were giving you the love that they were supposed to give. It may be the situation. It may be a situation where your lovers wasn't really loving. You know what I mean? Not saying that your lovers was hating, but your lovers the love might not have been loving the way it was supposed to be loving. So we can talk about that. You know how it goes. We can talk about it, son. We can talk about that. And Christine Grant, what up, Christine? Thanks for coming through, man. Do me a favor, y'all. As y'all file in here, as y'all file on in, do me one favor. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. Share the show. Subscribe to the channel. If you don't subscribe to the channel, that's one thing. But just hit the like button. That's all. That's all I'm asking. I'm not gonna sell you nothing. Everything is gonna be good. Everything will be all right. Just please hit the like button. And good person. Good person. That's cool. Y'all come with some of the most colorful names. Good person. That's what's up. Info Spot 411 was good. He says, let's kick off 2025 with a 3-hour show. Man, you'd be lucky if this show goes 1 hour. We not doing, you know what I mean? We got to chill. We got to chill. JJ says, hey, it's JJ. Hey, it's JJ. I'm new around here. Well, I'm glad. Welcome. Welcome to the Daily Go-Gettemism Show. I'm glad that you're here. And, you know what I mean? Stick around. You know what I mean? Kick it, whatever. This is a pretty, it's laid back. It's a friendly atmosphere. It's a good place to be. I can, that's the least I can guarantee. Happy New Year to everybody. Happy New Year to everybody. And I hope that this one is healthy for you, prosperous for you, lucky for you, loving for you, good for you, enjoyable for you. I want you to look at 2025 like, yo, I never had a year where things was just coming to me without me even asking for them. They just dumping all of this goodness on me. That's what I hope for y'all. And Christine, okay. Hassan Wingate. Oh, that's Hassan Wingate. I'm sorry. That's not even a hard name. Hassan Wingate. I'm sorry. Are you a religious preacher or you just live to dress? You mean, do I like to dress this way? Yeah, I like to dress this way. If you're wondering why I have on these beads, you know, and actually, when you come to the show, I actually allow you to wear the beads too. These are genuine cow bone beads. I call them struggle beads. I call these necklaces, these cow bone necklaces, and yes, they are as heavy as they look. I call these struggle beads because I was born in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s, and anybody who went through the 80s as an adult or as a cognitively thinking child, you know that the 80s was a struggle. I imagine that every era of the youth is probably a struggle, but the 80s was different. And maybe I just consider it to be different because I was there and I lived it and I had to go through it and I had to get through it. But the Reagan era was serious. We talking about crack. We talking about AIDS. We talking about war in Beirut. We talking about the energy left over from the what do you call it? the Vietnam War vets, you know, passing away because of being affected by all that Agent Orange, and you know what I mean, not getting the care that they really deserved after being maligned for even fighting in the war, as if it was their choice to go over there and do it. So, you know, there was a lot going on in the 80s. There was a lot going on in the 80s. Interesting thing about the 80s, it almost felt like the 80s carried more energy from the 60s than it did from the 70s. Yeah. Because there was a spirit of revolution in the 80s. It died in the 90s, but it was definitely there in the 80s. So that's what these bones are about. The struggle beads, baby. And we all got to struggle. We all got to struggle. So no, this is not a religious program. We're not going to push no religion on you. We're not going to push no way of life on you. You do what you want to do. We bring information. We bring knowledge. We bring wisdom. We bring fun. We bring laughs. We bring, you know what I mean, something. We bring a reason to come back again. That's all we bring in. I ain't trying to tell you how to live. Nah, I ain't into all that. MC Lyrical, what's good, MC Lyrical? All right, Jeff Guapo says, yes, sir. For me, I don't have a significant other, only my family, but they show love. That's what's up. That's what's up. MC Lyrical says, I'm 18. What was the 80s like? Hold on. Let me finish giving these shout outs. Wisdom, what up? My people's wisdom is all up in the house. It's good. Good to see you. Jeff, you be on it. Iran-Contra affair. I was getting ready to say that shit. Man, the Iran-Contra affair, and that's real. That was going on. You know what I'm saying? Oliver North. A lot of scandal, a lot of cocaine. A lot of cocaine and scandal and arms scandal in the 80s. This shit was crazy. Jeff says, yeah, because the conflict from the 60s, like Vietnam, started to die down and everybody was actually back home. Mm-hmm. And Matthew says, and you can call in too. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. 80s good memories with MTV and Hulk Hogan. Yeah. Hulk Hogan, that bum ass mother. Yeah, but yes, definitely that. Definitely that. What was the 80s like? How would I explain to an 18-year-old what the 80s were like as a teenager? It's not that hard. In the 80s, like the hip hop that y'all listen to today is similar to the hip hop that we listened to in the 80s, but in the 80s, that would have been considered whack. Simple as that. Because in, 80s were basically the development of hip hop. In the 70s was the birth of hip hop, but it didn't start popping until the 80s. It didn't start getting played on the radio until the 80s. It didn't start becoming an art form, a culture, a way of life. It wasn't even taken seriously. So imagine hip hop not being a multi-billion-dollar industry. Imagine it not even being a multi-million-dollar industry yet. Imagine it in its infancy, sort of like dinosaurs. You know what I mean? Like, yes, there used to be dinosaur rap. Pterodactyls, the Tyrannosauruses. Yeah, I mean, whatever the Dino from the Flintstones. Yeah, it was that, and then and music videos were created. Well, they had music videos before the 80s, but in the 80s is when they really got popular. In the 80s is when CDs first came out. A CD, the end of the 80s, like somewhere around 88, 89, compact discs, fully digital, state of the art, like nothing we've ever seen before. 80s had a lot of good music. There were a lot of jobs available in the 80s. You could make a decent living whether you went to college or not. But if you went to college in the 80s, you definitely had a good head start. You were absolutely going to do pretty well. But, you know, crack and AIDS. Yeah. All right. Jeff Guapo says, then we had Frank Lucas too. He was mostly from the 60s and shit. The 80s had a lot going on because it was just developing to what we have now. It was affordable. It was somewhat affordable. It was affordable. You know what's funny? This is the most interesting thing that I could say about say to an 18-year-old. The same way that y'all love Polo and Gucci and fucking Louis Vuitton, 80s, same shit. Wasting our money on that same bullshit. And the prices were pretty much the same. Comparatively, the prices were pretty much the same. So we're going to get into this thing, man. If y'all would like to call into the show, you can call in, and the number to call is area code 267-874-1949. That's the number to call. I said it, 267-874-1949. Yes, y'all. I said it, 267-874-1949. Yeah, get on the line. I said it, 267-874-1949. Yeah, get your shine, baby. Get your shine, baby. Get your shine, baby. Get your shine, baby. 267-874-1949, baby. Call 267-874-1949. And your audio will be on the air. Yes, you can call in, talk. We don't rush you off the phone. We don't tell you what to say. It's totally uncensored. You can say it the way you feel it. Say it the way you mean it. Say it the way it is. And that's the beauty of it. Don't worry, you're not on video. Nobody's going to see you. You know, if you didn't get a haircut this week or your weave ain't straight or your makeup ain't done, none of that matters. It's just going to be your voice. But I understand, some people don't want their voice heard. But yeah, I said that I wasn't going to do a show tonight. I said, yeah, man, I ain't know that shit. Ain't nobody going to come through late night. People going to be drunk, high, and all that old crazy stuff. Full of gunpowder on their hands, New Year's Eve. But I said, you know what? Nah, man. It wouldn't be the daily go-getterism if it wasn't the daily go-getterism. So we do this every single day. Every day it rains. Every day it rains. And the DG will do the same. All right. Info Spot says 80s equals newspapers, payphones, shopping malls were a big hangout spot. True. TV Guide, book 40 channels on cable, and VHS were the big thing. High interest rate on loans, but also good rates on CDs. Wow, you talking that finance shit. You talking that good finance, and the rates on CDs were really good in the 80s. That shit was crazy. The rates on CDs were really good. Yeah. And nobody at home, not everybody at home, honestly. I guess they are. You know what I mean? I guess I found that out the hard way. Somebody partying though. The money got to be made somewhere. There's too much drunk drivers and police. I tell you, man, when I was coming home from work tonight, I was like, listen, I got to get to the crib. Because I'm not trying to, I saw two accidents. And I'm thinking about the mentality of the drivers. And like, God damn it, here it is New Year's Eve. I was supposed to go out tonight, blah, blah, blah. And it was a bad accident too. So you might have to see the emergency room. Ain't nobody trying to be in the ER on New Year's Eve. But hey, that accident may have actually stopped you from from, you know, being in the pearly gates. You know, a lot of people do not make it from December 31st to January 1st. A lot of people don't make it. And I don't want to be one of them. So I was like, listen, I might not come out to the 3rd. It's crazy out there. Real crazy, you know what I'm saying? So, all right. So we're talking about what you can reasonably expect from haters and lovers. Now, when we think about haters, what do we think about? What are we thinking about when we think about our haters? We're thinking about people who are jealous. We're thinking about people who are envious. We're thinking about people who would rat on you. We're thinking about people who would try to defame your character. We're talking about people who would probably be in your business and try to twist around the story and try to make it sound like you're always into something unnecessary, into something sinister, into something illicit, into something bad, into something newsworthy. That's what we probably think about our haters. So, but are we reasonably, because the key word here is what you can reasonably expect. So, is it possible that we can reasonably expect our haters to either grow tired of actively hating, or can we reasonably expect them to grow? Like, if you grow, if you learn, if you do things differently than you used to do them, why would it be unreasonable for a hater to do the same thing? Huh? How come? Why come? How come? All right, we're gonna take the caller. Hold on. And then we're gonna take the caller. You know, put him on hold just for a second. Let me finish my little spiel, and then we're gonna get into this thing. We're gonna get into it and get involved. These puzzle pieces right now, we gonna solve, y'all. Scene flexing was good. My people scene flexing. It's good to see my people's coming through. Y'all healthy, y'all good, you're in good shape, everything is all right. I'm glad to hear that. And I hope that that's what it is. Yeah, man, appreciate you. And Christine Grant was good. Jeff Guapo says, I wouldn't expect a hater to grow. They do them. If they bother me, they can get dealt with. Well, see, that's what I mean by why wouldn't we expect them to grow? It's because, and the reason that I say this is this, Jeff. Somebody out there looks at you and me as a hater. I'm not saying that it's true, but people can make you out to be a hater just because you disagree, just because you won't comply, just because you don't jump on the bandwagon, just because you don't kiss the ring, just because you don't appreciate, just because you scrutinize. Just because you reject instead of openly accept. Somebody out there can say that you're a hater. Somebody out there will say that you're a hater. That's just how that goes. Somebody out there will say, yeah, you know, Jeff be hating. You know, he all right, dude. He cool and all that. But you know what I mean? You know, like, yo, he be hating. You know what I'm saying? You know, blah, blah, blah. Listen. I get into a lot of sports arguments and people tell me I'm hating. Like, oh, you hating on my team. I'm like, your team, not my team. Your team is not my team. So I guess I am hating on your team, but I'm not hating on you. It's just your bum ass, no good, no winning team. And you know, I speaking of this sports hating thing, you know, I had to call a friend of mine today because I was like, listen, you know, like the playoffs are coming. I'm feeling good. My team, the Eagles, you know, they've locked up the number 2 seed. So no matter what happens, whether we beat the Giants or the Giants pull off a upset or whatever, we probably won't play many of our starters, trying to get Saquon to break Eric Dickerson's long-standing rushing record. But I was feeling good about it. But I got to deal with these Cowboys fans. These goddamn Cowboy fans. I got to deal with them. And, you want to talk about haters. Now, they saying, the Eagles, they're going to go out in the first round because they always go out in the first round. I'm like, what Eagles do? What Eagles team are you talking about that never makes it past the first round? I was like, we was in the Super Bowl last year. Well, now it's 2025, so it was 2 years ago now. But in 2023, we were in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs. And we lost by 3 points. And over a controversial pass interference call. So I'm like, that was in 2023. Yeah, we went out in the first round last year because the team imploded. I don't think that's going to happen this year. But anyway, you can be looked at as a hater in any and all things that you do. You can be looked at as a hater. Anybody ever try to get you to compliment them on something that you really don't see as being all that great? For example, let's say your man's in them. Your man's got a brand new chick. He got a new chick. He done dusted her off, shined her up. You know what I mean? He bring her to you. To you, she might not be all that cute. Like, she all right. But he looking for you to be like, oh, my God. Woo-wee. Yeah, you got yourself a superstar right there. And you not. You like, oh, yeah, all right, yeah, she cool. Because to you, she might not be all that cute. Guess what? Now you a hater. Now you're a hater. You didn't say anything bad. You didn't smirk. You didn't do no little passive aggressive type shit. You just didn't acknowledge his girl as being the best thing since sliced bread. Guess what? Now you a hater. Who? You. You, sir, are a hater. Who? You. You, sir, have been labeled a hater. So people will reasonably expect that you're going to be hating for the rest of 2025. You ain't been hating. My man Seika Salah. Seika Salah was good. Jeff Guapo says if she that good, marry her. Speaking of marrying, I saw an old video by the boy Kevin Samuels, and he was reading this chick the Riot Act, and he said men who want to get married propose within 6 months, no later. And he was like, all those men who talk about, you got to know them for a year or two or some years or whatever, they're not marrying type. The men who marry, the men who propose, the marrying type of men, 6 months and they're ready to go. And I was like, Jeff, I understand why people used to hate you with that kind of shit, because I'm like, come on, dog. Come on, man. But I also understand he had to put on a show. I don't think he believed all that shit he was saying. He threw it out there. Because you ain't going to tell me all of the men that were hanging on his every word, you ain't going to tell me that they was all proposing within 6 months. So these chicks are out here talking about some, he ain't proposed to me in 6 months. I must not be the one. Or he must have somebody else. Or I'm like, ugh. You can't hang on somebody's every word. All right. Hello world. What's good? Hello world. How you feeling? Good to see you. Jeff Guapo says, man, I get the content, but truth, no. Nah, I ain't with it either. All right, this is what we're going to do. We have a caller on the line. Oh, yes, we do. We have a caller on the line. You know who. Caller with the last number is 0297. Welcome to the Daily Go Getimism Show. I appreciate you calling in. I appreciate you holding on. What's on your mind tonight in this 2025? Matter of fact, Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. This is Ed from Detroit. Info spot 411 in the chat. Oh, wow. A few things to talk about. Just backtracking with the 80s. I mean, that would be a good topic, 80s and 90s today. But when you bring up the struggle, I was like maybe 10 to 15 years old. I was, born in 74, but I also think about some of the stuff where today is so much easier to do. For example, like when I was in school and you're working on a paper, you had to actually get books, and it's just a lot tougher to do.
Yeah.
A lot of things that we take for granted with, Google and a lot of instant access with information with your smartphone and the map. I still remember having paper maps and, my car in the early 90s, late 80s. And, like I was mentioning in the chat, that was a big ass deal when I think it was around 84. I got cable in our neighborhood, and it's like no more UHF, VHF. It's like, damn, we got 38 or 42 channels it was. And then when the VHS player came out, you're like, oh man, I can go to the video store and get that movie I want to watch. Or you could buy a movie and watch it when you want, or record something on TV. And now you look and go, but yeah, some of that stuff, the one thing, it's sad is I see it dying soon here is the newspaper on the 80s. I'm maybe it's just because I'm a Gen X, but man, I still miss having. I every once in a while I'll go to the gas station. I'm in Detroit, see the Detroit News, my local paper. I like having an actual paper in my hand, and if I get a good hour to sit and go read it, but everything's going to the smartphone and getting the information. But yeah, go ahead.
I just want to interject this real quick. Yeah. One thing I really hated about the death of the newspaper, or the downfall of the newspaper, was that it took away jobs, and it took away a lot of kids' first job. Because we had a paper boy, and one of the greatest things about being a paper boy, even though I never did it, but this paper boy knew him, and they had a business relationship. I mean, hella training for when you get older. You know what I mean? Because you had to deliver a product, collect the money, deliver the money, continue to deliver the product, form a working business relationship with the customer. You had to deal with complaints. You had to upgrade or deal with customer satisfaction. You didn't want to be a paper boy that nobody liked. That wasn't going to work. So it took away jobs. So it's sort of like the same thing that self-serve gas pumps did. It took away jobs. So yeah, I just wanted to say that part.
Oh, no. Yeah, I remember it was around the mid-2000s that it was the death of the paper boy around the Detroit area, because they started going to the adults and then the delivery, and then either you had the mailbox deal, or they chuck it down on the driveway.
Yeah, that's
where
true.
The paper boy used to bring it up to the porch, and then they'd hang it on the front doorknob.
Yeah.
With the heaters, the comment I was going to make, I think it's good sometimes having the heaters, and then I'm going to, with my analogy or point with this is, I'm always leery because a lot of people are not genuine when they tend to agree with me on every damn thing, or just want to tell you what you want to hear. I'd rather have somebody who comes across as a hater, but I know I'm getting genuine, and there's someone that's honest, and I feel like, okay, this guy's got, to me, good character, whether it's politics, a social issue, whatever, it could be sports. they ain't gonna just tell me something I want to hear. It'll be like, yeah, you know what? I really don't. I could care less about what the NFL is doing here, or you know what? I'm not really down with this BLM stuff, and because they're doing this and they're doing that, you know, they're not going to be like, well, I don't feel like getting a confrontation, or I don't want to tell you something you don't want to hear. I'd rather have someone be genuine with me, to my point, and come across as a hater than somebody tell me what I want to hear.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because when you talk about a hater in that sense, a lot of people may not be able to identify the hater. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like you kind of have to have hater identification techniques without being unnecessarily judgmental. No, I don't want to say judgmental. I want to say unnecessarily suspicious. You know what I mean? One of the worst things that you can do is always think that somebody is out to get you. You know what I mean? It's like being paranoid and all of that. Nobody really wants to be around anybody that acts that way. But when you've been done wrong by somebody, it's hard to shake off, you know, the energy from that, the memory of that. It's like having a little mini PTSD, if there is a such thing as a little, you know, bit. But I mean, it is what it is. So yeah. So yeah, yeah. Reasonably what to expect from your haters. You know, like if they have not made any adjustments in their lives, then you can expect them to do a lot of the things that they were doing before. But you may also expect them. You may be able to reasonably expect them to take it up a notch. If they don't feel like they persevered with their hating in the previous year, then they may go a little bit further. So, you know, you might have to look out for that. But I like to be positive. I like to be able to look at people as, you know, maybe developing themselves, growing, maturing, or at the very least, being more creative and being able to do something better or improve their technique in some kind of way. Maybe I'm silly to expect that, but because that might not be reasonable to expect that, but that's what I would like to see happen. You know, shit's crazy. But yeah,
you know, it's interesting. We just mentioned the 80s and the haters too. One thing I and I'm just speaking in general, is when you get into the millennials and the Gen Z, you know, versus like the early end of millennials, Gen X, baby boomer, is sadly the one of the negatives with the technology that's come out is the lack of social skills that I've seen. You know, where when too much everything's online, you know, you apply for job online, resume, to meeting people socially, whether it's through Facebook, Instagram, these dating websites, you know, Snapchat, all that stuff, where you get back into the 80s and 90s, you know, you went out and networked, and like I say, there was a shopping mall or a party, you know, a block party, you met people, a lot of times you had the interviews, you actually had an application, your resume was in paper, and you, even if you weren't even having the interview, you shook hands and you had that first impression, and you know, you developed your social skills much more. Where I noticed it in general, the big lack of social skills. You know, one of the downsides that I've seen with it. And there's a lot of upside and good things. Don't get me wrong, with having Google and all that stuff, but that's the downside that I've seen.
Yeah, yeah. They definitely don't have the communication skills that they used to, you know, because I hire a lot of these cats, you know, straight out of high school or whatever, and they need work, man. They don't know how to write. They don't know how to fill out an application very well, and they don't really understand. They don't really know how to talk, and they don't know that they can't have their pants hanging down. They really don't know how to sell themselves very well, but they really think that they can sell themselves by just basically coming into an interview, keeping it 100. Yeah. And, a lot of times I have to school them like, listen, man, even though I'm not going to hire you, I'm going to give you some game. So when you have another opportunity, hopefully you can maximize and do a little better, because this ain't it. First of all, you smell like a dispensary. Oh, I haven't been smoking weed. I'm like, listen, I didn't say you were, but you smell like a cipher. You know what I mean? I'm about to. I'm thinking two puffs and what do they say? Puff. Well, how they used to go? 2 puffs and pass or some shit like that. How to go? Well, however it went. I'm like, yeah, that ain't it, man. And but they really don't understand that shit. And the pandemic really, that quarantine made it worse. Because it gave them the validation to stay in the house instead of going out. They already aren't getting enough exercise, aren't getting enough oxygen in their lungs, aren't doing any cardio, aren't as fit as we were growing up. You look at the teens of today, and then you look at your old class pictures from when you were in the 3rd, 4th, 5th, all the way up to 8th grade, and you look how small all of you were compared to these cats would have been giants in our classrooms back in the day. Like, what the hell? What are you eating? And I'm not just talking about them being tall. Like, they weigh a lot. These cats are big. It just wasn't like that. So yeah, their communication skills lack a whole lot. And I feel for them because their failures are indicative of our failures to instruct, our failures to teach. And they just don't have the, what, this is a crazy thing, Ed. As much access as they have to information, they really have limited access to information. And I say that because I'm listening to you describe what we used to have to do in order to write a paper. Yeah. We had to write a bibliography. So we had to familiarize ourselves with certain terms like the Dewey Decimal System, periodicals. When was the last time you heard a word like periodicals? We had the research, and the information that we were getting was probably already outdated by the time we got it, but it was good enough for when we were writing our papers, as long as we could prove that we had a valid source and that we weren't plagiarizing. So even though you can just use Google and they will walk you step by step about how to fill out how to develop a resume and how to conduct yourself in an interview, they don't know to do that. So they don't even know what they don't know and what they need to know, because they don't have the resources of people like you and I to even tell them. We think.
Oh, right. Well, another thing, a couple things come to my mind of being more specific too, just adding to what you're saying, and I totally so agree. The politeness, the manners is, you can only get so much reading from a website or something like Google. Or maybe if you're intuitive enough and you watch some good YouTube videos, but I doubt that as far as, the politeness, the manners, how to greet somebody, shake their hand, how do you address them. Knowledge comes in many ways. And when you go back like 80s and 90s, everything wasn't on a computer. You had to go out and meet people and socialize a hell of a lot more. And that was some knowledge, that you would get. where it's just I've seen a big lack of it with my job. I deal a lot with the public and seeing the 20-year-olds and like, hey, what up, and I'm like, whatever happened, oh, good afternoon, or have a good day, sir, or nice meeting you, just salutations, greetings, the respectfulness, and then the language you use, that's kind of lost the wayside. And then real quick comment on what you said. It was interesting you just said that. I was watching, I think it was a Joe Rogan podcast. Anyway, it was a retired general from the U.S. Army. And he was talking about his big concern. It's possible in 10 years from now, they might have to bring back the draft because they're just going to be so damn low on numbers for the military branches. There's a few different things that come into play with the generate. A lot of them are just staying at home. They're on the video games and they're on the computer. Not that everything is not productive. There might be doing productive stuff on the computer, but the days of meeting up with the friends and going out playing football, or hopping on your bike to go meet somewhere and do shit outside, that's less and less. Then you got the public high schools where phys ed is really falling on the wayside compared to, 80s and 90s, and a lot of these kids that want to go in the Navy or the Army, whatnot. They can't even meet the minimal physical standards, let alone, they meet the academic standards. They have the ASVAB test, and they'll score well on that, but then they're just so out of shape. That's another problem, like you brought up, being overweight. Their numbers, except I think the Marine Corps is the only one that met their numbers in the past few years, that they were really down. But just as the point, there's a few things, and then also too with the homes, the fast food, let me go get something quick, where in general, in the 80s and 90s, a lot of families, whether it's even single parent households, were like about cooking meals and putting good food in their kids,
That's true. That's true.
We can't change the world, but we can acknowledge some of the problems going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to the jobs, there were jobs available. You know what I mean? Like there were jobs, and even the after school job was a big deal. I had an after school job. Most of my friends had after school jobs. We worked. If we wanted things, we needed pocket money. If we wanted to date, if we wanted to be able to take our girls to the movies and go out to eat or something like that, we needed our own money. Our parents weren't always going to provide for our social interaction all the time, every time that we needed it. It could be a little expensive for them and a little concerning for them also. So it was good training that we were able to have, get jobs. And that also taught us a lot about business and industry and responsibility. When you realize that it's not okay to just call out of work just because you don't feel like going or because you have a prior engagement, you see, like they'll actually fire you. Like they didn't hire you because you were cute. They didn't hire you because you needed a job. They hired you because they're trying to run a business and you are instrumental in their bottom line being reached. And once you understand that, then it's good training for the future. But I want to talk about this whole hater thing and what you can expect.
Sure.
And not even just a hater thing, because like I was talking about to Jeff Guapo. Your lovers might not be loving you the way that you need to be loved. Like let's say you have a girl, a significant other, or something like that, and you've been trying. Maybe your interest level in her is high, but she hasn't been really reinforcing or returning the same type of energy that you need to feel comfortable about going forward. You understand what I mean? So even though she's not a hater, but she ain't a lover either. So it's like, well, where are we going with this? Because can you reasonably expect her to just get an epiphany like on some old, okay, it's new year, new me. Well, I'm with the same guy, so I'm going to start treating him better because he's already or he has always treated me well, so I should start treating him better. I don't think you can reasonably expect her to do that if you've been rewarding her nonchalant behavior, if you've been rewarding her dismissive behavior, if you've been rewarding her absenteeism with more favor, with more love, with more maybe even financial support and more interaction. If you've been rewarding her on one side while she's giving you the bad side, I don't think that you can reasonably expect her to just all of a sudden get an epiphany that you're the best thing for her, and then she miraculously starts treating you better. It would be just like if you told your boss that if they paid you more money, then you will work harder. And then
wrong thing to say.
Yeah, it is the wrong thing to say. It's the exact. It's the one thing that will put you on the bad radar at work, and it may actually start the process of your termination. Really, because nobody pays you after you perform. Pays you before you perform, or pays you in anticipation that you will perform. The only time that happens is in the interview and hiring process, where they haven't seen that you're going to perform yet. But once you are already an employee, and you hear people say this all the time, well, yeah, I would do more if they paid me more. No, you wouldn't. You would do the same shit because you already think that you deserve more without doing more. So, if they gave you more, it would validate the fact that you held out. So, it's tough. It's tough. And when we start talking about what you can reasonably expect, you might not be able to reasonably expect, somebody who hasn't been showing any love to all of a sudden start showing it. That might not be reasonable.
No, I agree. I think for me, people can change, but from my experiences, people change on their own. And when they do change on their own, it's usually something's happened to them that made them think and make that change on their own. Where one of the worst things you can do is try to change somebody else. And sometimes, happiness in your life is saying no, and it's also moving on. So it might be tough for you to move on and say no, but you've got to remind yourself, hey, 6 months from now, I'm going to look back and say, damn, by me moving on and saying no, I am in a much happier place than if I was still with so-and-so and dealing with the stuff like you said. I don't have all the answers. I'm just, speaking in general. So, yeah, and, if you're caught in that situation, a man or a woman, just say, sometimes you just have to say no, as tough as it is, and sometimes it might be just moving on. One of the worst things I've heard people say, as man and woman, is like, oh, I got a year and a half invested, or 2.5 years invested with so-and-so, and I hate to just throw all this away. I'm like, okay, well, if you already brought these problems to the table and you don't see a change in, you're getting much better, and you're not happy with dealing with what the situation is, then you need to just move on. You just say, hey, this shit's over. It's going to be tough in the short term, but the long term, you're going to be in a much happier place. That's just my experience. My 2 cents on it would be.
No, I don't think you're off base at all. From my experience, people change when what was working before no longer works. And a lot of times that's the only time they change. When they can't use or get away with the same things that they used to use and get away with, then they're forced to change. Like, it ain't working no more. But it can take them a good while to realize and accept that the old way isn't working anymore. It's like, you ever burn out an appliance?
Yeah.
You burn out an appliance, and you just can't fucking believe that the thing you're plugging it in, and it ain't working.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked all those other times. You know what I mean? When you plugged it in, it didn't spark. It didn't. There was no fire. There was no smoke. There was no smell. So you can't understand how come this thing just won't work. More than likely, you're going to take something else and plug it into it. You're like, well, this thing is working. Well, you're going to probably look all around it and try to see if there's a reset button. Probably try to plug it into another outlet, even though you validated with the first outlet that something else works in it. It could just be a fluke. Maybe it's this outlet that isn't working. So I need to find another more AC/DC friendly outlet before you realize, like, yeah, this thing is burnt out. It doesn't work. You either have to get it repaired and weigh that against the cost of replacing it with a new one. And a lot of people do that with the things that they do or the way that they treat other people. So a liar is not going to stop lying until lying no longer works. As long as lying works, why should I stop? As a matter of fact, I don't even have to call it lying. I'm just kicking game. If you too stupid to see, what I'm doing, or you too dumb to believe, to see that I'm not believable or trustworthy or credible, that's on you. You the dummy, not me.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I have the right to, you have the right to get got. And I have the right to get you because you're just not smart. So yeah, until that stops working, they're going to keep going. So sometimes things have they have to break down all the way. It's almost like, what would it take to get you back on public transportation? Your car being down might not do it because you might still Uber. Uber is not considered public transportation, right? It's more like private transportation, right? So
yeah, that's a whole nother topic too. But go ahead.
Yeah. So if your car breaks down, you may rent a car for a while. If it's still taking too long and you don't have the money to rent for a while, you may start taking an Uber. If Uber gets too expensive, that might be the thing that may get you back on public transportation, but still it might take a little longer because you may just ask random friends and family members for rides or limit the places that you go. But it might be a while before you break out that token or that bus pass or whatever. It may be a good while because you haven't accepted that you have to do it that way. And I understand it. So when I talk about what you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers, you can reasonably expect from your haters that they're going to probably get more creative with the hate. More than likely. If they haven't been hitting hard, if they haven't been seeing the effect that the hate has been having on you, then they may kick it up a notch. Same thing with the lovers. If somebody has been treating you well and you've been giving them a reason to keep treating you well, then they're probably going to keep treating you well. I don't see any reason that they would, do a 360 and just start treating you like shit. But you never know. But we're talking about what you can reasonably expect. Like, I can reasonably expect for the sun to rise in the east and set in the west. I can reasonably expect that. It's a law, and scientific laws can't be broken. So I know it's going to happen. There aren't a whole lot of things in life where I can I can literally set my clock to that. So yeah, reasonably expecting something actually takes some logic. It takes some experience, and it takes some credibility in order in order to be able to happen that way, or in order to play out the way that you wanted to play out. Coco T, what's good? My people's in the chat. I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. But yeah, so what you can reasonably expect from a lover, if they've been showing love, is to probably keep showing love. As long as you're not giving them a reason to stop showing love. If they haven't been showing love, you probably can't reasonably expect them to just all of a sudden start being okay. You might have to do something in order for them to step up to the level that you need them to be. You may even have to do something that you rather not do, like threaten them. And I don't mean threaten them with violence, but you may have to be like, well, listen, I'm about to be out. Like, this ain't working for me. This is
ultimatum, kind of, you're saying.
Yeah, you might have to do it. But if you do it, you might have to mean it. If you ain't ready, yeah. I wouldn't suggest that you put it out there. So you should, if you're going to give an ultimatum, I think you should probably do it with your bags packed. Like, look, y'all don't even live together. You still got your bags packed. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm trying to get you to understand that I'm about to move on, you know? But you have to be serious. If you want somebody to be serious with you, then you have to be serious with them. So reasonably expecting them. Now, and you know, I don't want to lose focus that I was talking about in the year of 2025. This week, and especially next week, people going to be getting in the gym. People going to be depositing money in banks. People going to be, you know, getting themselves together. They're going to be saving money. They're going to be, you know, making plans for the future. They're going to be asking people about their 5-year plan. Like, what do you see yourself in all that shit? Right now, somebody is clearing out their social media friends cache, however you pronounce it. You know what I mean? Like, yo, this person got to go. This person got to go. I'm blocking this person. Oh, this is not even social media. I'm blocking this person from calling me anymore. They brought me nothing but grief in 2024, even though that might not be the truth. That's when we get into your truth. That's your truth. Speak your truth. Anyway, you know, there's going to be a whole lot of house cleaning going on. Deserved and undeserved is going to happen. But if we're talking about what you really want to change for the upcoming year, you got to be serious. If you're not serious with other people won't be serious with you. People feed off a lot of energy. So, you know, your energy has to, if you want somebody to kick up their energy a notch, you have to kick up yours. Well, that's where we are with it.
No, it's true. You know, like, here's an example. You meet someone, but they're that type of individual that shows up late. You know, just about for every damn thing. Mm-hmm. Let's talk, you know, dating, relationships. Yeah, it might get to either the point you just walk away, or you, like you say, put that ultimatum. Hey, you know, whether we make just a date for dinner and going out doing this and that, you know, if we say meet at 8 o'clock, that don't mean 9 o'clock, 8:30, because I can understand once in a while stuff comes up. Hey, such and such, you know, I'm going to be a half hour behind, but with, you know, all the time. This is one example, you know, and then the change too. That's something that's another, right? That's a big turn off to me. Someone who shows up late, especially a first or second date or whatnot, because I just don't see them changing, and I'm not going to try to change them either. But yeah.
Yeah, not going to try to change them. They always telling us that we can't change somebody, or we shouldn't try to change somebody. We have to accept people for who they are. And you know the problem I have with that is that it seems like the most fucked up people are the ones who want you to accept them the way they are. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's always the rudest, most inconsiderate, you know, selfish motherfuckers that always want to, you know, well, just accept me the way I am. No, I can't accept you the way you are. Your shit is fucked up, and I know you can do better. So why can't I show you better? It'll be better for everybody. But no, because you know when you first met me, I'm like, I don't expect you to be the same person that I just met a year later, 2 years later, or more. Like, we all have to elevate. When I first met you, I didn't know you. Now I know you a little bit more. You don't think I should or could reasonably expect that you will develop a little bit? Don't I have to develop a little bit? You know, that'd be like, and I know I hate to keep using job analogies, but fuck it. It's the first of the year. So imagine if your boss told you, like, well, you know, you wasn't asking for all of this money when you first started working here. You know what I mean? Why are you asking for it now? Like, I'm sorry, sir, what? Yeah, I mean, shoot. We was only paying you this before. You know what I mean? Well, why we gotta pay you more now? Like, yeah, okay. Shoot, the working conditions were poor before. Why? And you worked. Why should we change the working conditions now? That shit, you know, these improvements, they cost a lot of money. Why should we have to spend the money on that when we was getting y'all to work for free in this shithole? Yeah, I got y'all these little American sweatshop shirts. Nice, huh? 100% cotton. So yeah, man. Yeah. I'm not gonna change you. Like, what? Why not? Shoot, even though it's supposed to go against our pride and ego, we've allowed people to change us. We have. You know how they changed us? With good ideas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that was a hell of an idea. Sometimes money worked. Sometimes, you know, just a little TLC, it worked. It helped us to change. Even if we didn't change overnight, it gave us the incentive. It gave us the initiative. It got the ball rolling. So, you know.
Well, it's like I had a guy years ago told me, and it works sometimes, but is what you're saying. Let's talk the work field. This guy was in a car salesman, and he said, what you want to do, a lot of times when you want something or you feel you need something, make it sound to the employer's benefit or management's benefit that it benefits them in
Exactly.
something, even though the main thing is it benefits you, but make it sound like it's all from the benefit. I'm like, you know what? It would be a really good idea to put like a Mr. Coffee machine here in this, you know, in the break room, and you know, just some decaf, regular coffee, and some cups out, whatnot. You know, not just for the employees here, but you do have a lot of vendors come through and some other people, and you know, it's a really nice way to greet them and say, hey, can I get you want to care for a cup of coffee rather than send them to some vending machine down the hallway? You know, so but see, at least I'm just coming up with an example off the top of my head, but make it sound a little bit to their benefit one way or the other. You know,
and business.
That's something that I learned. Somebody told me, and as I gave that thought, I said, "Oh, you know what? That makes some fucking good sense."
It does. It makes good sense because business people want you to think about their money, not your own. I mean, it's simple. You're going to get paid anyway, but you have to show them that you want them to make more money to be able to pay you. You know, and when you fail to understand that, then you just wind up probably jumping from job to job and belly aching and always talking about how the world isn't fair because you don't understand how shit works. And it's not that hard. It's not that hard. You know, I mean, my dad was alive. He used to always say that, you know, if you want a boss to recognize you, start volunteering. You don't have to volunteer forever. He'll notice. Like, wait a minute. So you were the one who did all of this stuff, and you don't even work here? I bet you'll be working there soon. Or if you are already working for somebody, simply ask them, well, like, what can I do around here to make some extra money? Like, how can I be you can ask things like, whatever your position is. Let's say you are, I don't know, IT. You worked in IT, so you're a tech.
Mm-hmm.
You say, let me have a little meeting with you. I want to ask you something, and it's personal and professional. Like, what could I do to be the greatest tech here? What would it take for me to be the best tech that you've ever seen? You know what I mean? So he's going to give you some input, and he's also going to take into account what you've already been doing. But that type of ambition, because you being the greatest tech that he's ever seen, works for him or her, So it's a good way to get yourself noticed, and it's a good way to get some more money in your pocket.
Yeah.
And it doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't cost you anything to humble yourself or to get a little smarter, to improve your technique.
Well, like one thing I see is similar to what you're saying. My mentality is when it comes to the workplace, even more important, diversity. I said this in past shows, is merit. I'm just big on not just showing up to my job every day. This is something good if some people listening for an interview. One of the things, I show up to time. All right, I'm reliable. I show up to time. Okay, that's great. I'm about being good at my job. And where a lot of people I see, sometimes it pays off, but is kissing ass. I'll just be frank, kissing ass and trying to appease people. But when you're not around, believe me, you don't get that respect. The person who's always constantly kissing ass is not getting that respect, is somebody, and they're going to be noticed in a better way when you're about merit and just being good at your job. Maybe like, hey, so-and-so's always nice and kiss my ass. This person, he's nice and he'll kiss my ass, but man, he's fucking good at his job. He puts, 110% into it, and is very, like you say, ambitious person, but that's who how I am. And you'll get noticed in a lot better light with merit than you will trying to kiss ass and doing some other stuff. Granted, sometimes politics comes into play.
A lot of times,
in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If there's a grandfather system going on, you're not going to beat that. You're not going to shake that up or break it up or infiltrate that. That's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that you can't find something for you. Sometimes people get so hell bent on changing a system or being a whistleblower or something like that, then they wind up shooting themselves in the foot or basically playing themselves. It doesn't have to be that way. So now let's say 2025. What you can reasonably expect from your haters and your lovers. Let's say if you were married. Let's say if you were married and maybe your marriage was on the rocks. Maybe it was on life support. Maybe it was on life support due to no fault of your own, but there were irreconcilable differences that you have reconciled by being silent or being passive or just agreeing to disagree or however, but you haven't really opened up the lines of communication. You haven't really solved any of the issues that you have with you and your spouse. What do you think you can reasonably expect from your wife? Now, the reason that I'm asking this is because a lot of men, especially a lot of men, And I gotta talk about the internet because I see a lot of this going on, but a lot of men are blaming women for basically being a little encourageable, being a little stubborn, and definitely changing for the worse after the ring has been put on their finger and the ceremonies have been performed and now they're married. So I'm hearing stories about wives not giving up no ass, not cooking, not cleaning, not taking good care of the kids, not showing any love, no affection, no nothing. And I don't know. I'm thinking if a person really loves you, cares about you, and really wants to be with you, why wouldn't they listen to reason to do some things to make you feel more confident and more comfortable? Well, if it has been a downward spiral in 2024, will your spouse suddenly get religion and start being the woman or the man that you need him to be? Reasonably, I think not. Possibly, sure, anything is possible, but you'll freeze in the wintertime and burn up in the summertime waiting on a possibility. Yeah. I just don't think there's anything wrong with observing behavior and knowing exactly what you have to do. You may be the type of person that settles for less.
Well, one of the things, as far as what you can do on your own would be, and this is easier said than done, recognizing your own faults, not just maybe everything will be communicated from, your wife or husband or your partner, recognizing your own faults and work on that. And then when it comes to faults of your partner, if some things ain't going to change or get fixed, then you just, again, you're kind of at the crossroads. You got to make a decision. You got to get her shit off the pot to live a happy life. And if that means accepting something that kind of, you're not too happy with, but it's not a deal breaker. Okay. Hey, no problem. But if it's something that, let's say your partner's kind of a functioning alcoholic, you put up with it for a while, you're about, talking about getting married, but it's like, okay, you're sober for work or here or there, but it's just got to stop, and you can't change it. You just got to say, well, this is something I can't deal with for the next 40, 50 years of my life. If you plan on getting married, I got to move on.
Yeah.
And talk and communicate it, and that can't change. Then, hey, you got to say, this is over. Move on. Easier said than done. Those are kind of my thoughts on it. But yeah, definitely you can try to recognize some of your own faults and work on those.
Yeah.
That easier said than done, because believe me, it's a tough one. One of my faults, I'm more of a talker than a listener. It's easier said than done.
Yeah, it happens. But yeah. Personal accountability is a big thing too. It's not always somebody else's fault. It's not always somebody else's fault. Sometimes you may have created the atmosphere to make somebody act a little differently towards you. And sometimes we fail to acknowledge that, but we really need to acknowledge it. So if we want to reasonably expect something from somebody else, we have to reasonably expect them to be able to depend on us to do what we need to do or what we're supposed to. So, yeah. expecting a child to start washing the dishes when they've never been told to wash the dishes is probably not reasonable to expect that they'll do that. Anything is possible, right?
Yeah, that's true, man. You know, sometimes people make a New Year's resolution and it works out. And most of the time, what is it, by the third or second week of January, the old habits start to kick back in, or this is happening, that's happening. I'm not able to, stay on this diet that I was going to be on, or I'm not getting to the gym at least 3 days a week now. Or this or that.
Yeah.
Well, here's an example that comes to my mind. Just on the smallest scale. Let's talk like a couple, maybe ready to get married. They've been together, let's say, for almost a year. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say, and I'm a guy, so I'll use it. This is my analogy, or not an analogy, but example. I'm sorry. I love football. Okay, I'm football and bowling are my two big sports. Lions fan. I'm here in Detroit, so I get my lady like, hey, Lions play on Sunday, Monday night. Hey, I if I'm off work, I'm watching my Lions. Okay. Oh, that's fine. Now she might not tell me, hey, I don't want to. But then I'm going like, I got to have my Thursday night football. If I'm off Monday or Sunday, I got to have my football. Then maybe once in a while, Thursday night comes, say, you know what? I can't, to think of it real quick. It's Jaguars versus Tennessee Titans. Who gives a rat's behind? Or is that even matter? What do you like? You're big on movies? Yeah, pick out a movie. Let's watch a movie. I could do it on football. She might not communicate to you, just be nice to you. Like, hey, I don't, once in a while I don't want to watch football every damn night. I understand and you're lying. Sometimes you got to be like, well, this might be a fault of mine,
Mm-hmm.
She doesn't see the love of football and sports like I do. And I might not even give that a second thought because I'm just so caught up. I love my football. So it might be, once in a while, the Thursday nights here. I love to watch Thursday night football, but we're here together. And she made a nice dinner. We had a nice dinner. Yeah, let's go. Pick out a movie. You know what? You pick out what you want to watch tonight. She's not always going to say, oh, do we have to watch football again? She's going to kind of expect me to be like, hey, I don't want to watch damn football every night.
Right.
Sometimes just little things that I'm not a social worker. I'm just speaking from my own experience.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Do you really like Thursday night football?
I love NFL football. The Thursday night games in general are usually not as good as the Sunday, Monday night games.
Those Thursday night games suck. They just picked the worst day. I'm like, since its inception, I'm like, these games are ass. They are terrible. They really are. They should have just kept it Sunday night and Monday night. That Thursday thing. But that's the NFL. Money. And I'll tell you what, you can reasonably expect that they will always try to make more and more money no matter how much they make. You can reasonably expect that they're always going to try to make a whole lot more. Whatever you consider a whole lot more to be. It won't be in the thousands, that's for sure. So,
you bring that up real quick. At first, I thought Marshawn Lynch was a jerk when he wasn't commenting before the Super Bowl and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what the hell is this guy's problem? I mean, he's got this job making big money, being able to do something people all dream about, blah, blah, blah. But then, when I did start listening to a little bit, he made some good points when the few times he spoke, where he had that beast mode product going, right?
Yeah.
And then he brought out about the NFL, don't drink and drive. But then they got all these beer sponsors and alcohol sponsors for the games and their products, and he brought up about the players and then, a lot of this endorsement money that the owners are making and how the league's making this big cash. And he's just like, you know what? I don't have to comment on every time there's some post-game show going on. you know, and if I have a beast mode hat on, I already told you to cover this shit up and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't. After I started seeing his side, the coin at first saying, you know, his side of the story, I didn't see him as the jerk that he comes off. Although that wasn't a good look when he had that little DUI stop and that
That was funny as hell,
was
wasn't
out
it?
of it, boy.
That
Woo!
shit was, yo, he was, yo. Yo. I was like,
I don't
damn,
want to get off
dude.
track, but then I understand where he was coming from.
Mm.
You know, when he just said, and I thought that shit was funny. He's like, I'm just here so I won't be fined.
I was
I'm
just
just
it,
here so I
yeah.
won't be fined.
He stuck to that shit too. But he, you know, he had a lot of problems with the team, and I don't think he went about it in the best way, but he definitely got his point across. And sometimes you can't tell a person, you know, what they're supposed to do. But Marshawn Lynch is very intelligent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, he knows what he's saying, and he knows what he means and what his intentions are. So yeah, in the world of the NFL, where pretty much everybody plays ball with somebody who doesn't play ball, that's kind of like what they look like, and that's kind of how they come off. So yeah, it's definitely different. Yeah, but I started to like Marshawn. I think I started liking him after that DUI shit. I said, "Look at this motherfucker, boy." I was like, "Boy,
if anybody hasn't seen it, it's on YouTube. Look up Marshawn Lynch DUI stop. Oh boy,
what kind of car was he in? It was like it was some foreign, yeah, some shit like that.
Sports car, wasn't it?
Yeah, man,
he went up on an angle.
He was knocked out. He's like, his license probably still suspended over that shit. he might have blew a 5. That shit was crazy.
Yeah. But I understood where he's coming from as far as the hypocrisy with the NFL and the endorsements and the money stuff, you know. And he's like, okay, I understand. He's got an effing point here, you know. But anyway, I guess, you know, about all I could, you know, say on that.
Yeah.
I don't have all the answers. I'm not like, again, I don't have a master's in social work, and
yeah,
I only could speak to what I know or good advice. I don't want to just speak to speak.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I guess neither one of us have a degree in that. I mean, but listen, we know the difference between right in some situations and wrong in some situations, and we may also understand perspective. And sometimes perspective wins over right and wrong, you know. It's just something that we have to deal with. But yeah, perspective goes directly in line with what we're talking about tonight, because it may be your perspective that you can expect something that's probably not going to be delivered to you. It's probably not something that should be expected, but you expected it anyway, and you may be headed for disappointment. But hell, who hasn't been disappointed before?
Yeah. But anyway, I'm still sticking to my guns. You'll probably like this. I'm gonna go with Philly and Buffalo for the Super Bowl. They're going to favor Kansas City, but I think Buffalo overcome them. I'm going to be rooting for my team, Detroit, but Detroit, Minnesota, they're both in trouble. The one team I think that could upset Philly again would be the Commanders. I see them as being that one team like the Steelers did a couple times years back, where they come in as a wild card, but it's like postseason's here. They don't care. They'll go out and play a tough game and win. But you know, if I had to put money down, that's who I'm going for the Super Bowl. But if it's Philly and Buffalo or Philly and Kansas City, I'm really going to be at a tough one trying to say definitively who's going to win the Super Bowl, but I'm pretty set with Philly and Buffalo for Super Bowl.
Well, I have to see what Buffalo is going to do because I'm not convinced, and and I'm not betting against Detroit. I'm just not, because I know what the Vikings have done. I mean, they drink peanut butter. Choke City. You know what I'm saying? They have not touched the Super Bowl since the 70s. And there are good reasons for it. They managed to go to NFC championships and shit like that, but then they choke. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, they've been known to choke in the playoffs. I mean, think about it. They let the goddamn Giants beat them a couple of years ago. The Giants. Come on, man. Giants had no business being in the playoffs. So
I love what Dave Campbell has done for our team, but when you talk Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philly, without Hutchinson, our main defensive, I'm saying his name correctly, our main defense, or I'll just say all pro defensive player there, and then we have a lot of other players banged up. That's when it comes to surface. Us beating Chicago, the AFC South. I mean, the one really, well, again, there was that Buffalo loss. They just marched back up and down the field.
yeah.
Well, okay, they had the win against San Francisco, but I mean, it'll be interesting here. See what they do against Minnesota. You know, I ain't got to take nothing away from them, but if we're talking, I'm making a bet. That's just how I see it. So, but I'll be rooting from, it's going to help them be in the Detroit for the divisional NFC championship. They beat Minnesota.
Yeah.
Oh, but if I'm putting money, if they're healthy, I'm going with the Eagles. I'm not just telling you what you want to hear. So.
No, I believe it. And you're not the first person I've heard say it.
Yeah.
You know, and I've heard it from some non-Eagle fans. It's good to see that people can be more objective. I mean, sometimes you can see it. I love my team. I want to see a little bit more eye of the tiger on the offensive side of the ball. You know, I'm satisfied with the defense, but I want a little bit more. I want a little bit more aggression on the offensive side of the ball. I mean, because they have the talent to be able to smash people and really embarrass people, but they're not using it. Now, granted, Sirianni is pretty good at hiding looks, but that sure didn't work out too well last year. Now, did it? No. So, but the team was in total disarray last year at this time. So it's a different animal, and I think I know that they can do it, and it'll be just tragic if anything goes left. So it better not happen. but I haven't given up on Detroit. I just haven't. They're dangerous and they deserve it. I just wonder if they may be still a year or two away, because it's not easy. The Cinderella thing, it's not easy. But the Saints did it, so why not?
Yeah.
I mean, they did it on the back of. I don't know. I was never a big. And what was the Saints quarterback name? Drew Brees. Yeah, Drew Brees. I was never a big Drew Brees guy. But he was effective. He could sling it.
Yeah,
he can sling it.
And I wouldn't poo-poo on the Commanders. They're that one team to me that could come in and pull off an upset against Philly or Detroit. They're going to be something I'm going to be watching too. The Commanders. I'm not too big on Green Bay doing anything, and especially like Tampa Bay or the Rams.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I don't want to. See, Green Bay got hot last year at this time. They are not hot. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. That's the thing that has always kind of existed about Green Bay. They will, when they sell out hard. A lot of times when you really think that they're going to go, like last year, I was like, yeah, this can happen. Green Bay could go and do, they could go and finish off the whole thing. Well, sometimes, they get flattened. Like, if there's one team that you can demoralize into a loss, it's Green Bay. It's Green Bay. But the Vikings are the same way. You can demoralize the Vikings too. They'll quit. They've been known to do it in a bunch of different eras. They have quit in that team. And I think it's, I hate to say it, but I really think it's because they play in a fucking dome. I know it's too cold to play outdoors up there in Minnesota, but that dome, it gives them a false sense of security. So when they have to play on grass, it don't go well. It's like Miami in the 80s. It's like the Dolphins in the 80s. They couldn't play in cold weather. Couldn't do it. Just couldn't fucking do it. Them and the Chargers. The San Diego Chargers, they couldn't play in cold weather. I'm like, you gotta make adjustments for that. But but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Okay, hey, good show as always, man.
Without a doubt, man. Appreciate you.
You bet.
All right.
Take care.
So this is what we're going to do tonight. Tonight we're not going to go the whole 2 hours. I'm actually a little tired. I didn't think we were going to go this long. So what we're going to do is we're going to do these birthday shout outs, and then we're going to get on up out of here. I want to thank you all in advance. I want to wish you all a happy New Year all in advance, because y'all have been great to me in 2024, and I appreciate meeting some of you online, interacting with many of you online. I appreciate your support in all ways, moral, financial, just being down with the team and being down with the movement. I appreciate you, and I hope that we can expand and grow even more in 2025. I have some new ideas. I have some, we got some things, cooking. But this time we're going to have to cook a little faster. We're going to have to cook a little faster. When they say shit or get off the pot, well, I got to get off the pot. Must get off the pot. But in the meantime, in between time, let's do these birthday shout outs. We have some birthday shout outs to do. Some people were born on this glorious December 31st, and they deserve to be acknowledged. So let's go about our business of acknowledging them and making them feel special, because they are special, because they are special, because they are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They are SPECIAL. They get the RESPECT. They get number one out the box, J. Dub Walden. Happy birthday to you, and also Kimberly Kamara. Happy birthday, and L. Tenise McMiller, and Eve Banks, Tony Turner, Williams Peralta, Ankh June Dunn, Alexandra Charles, Julia Cooper, Tanae Wright, Nina Bracco, Jessica Chisholm, my girl Jessica Chisholm, and last but not least, my man Derek Adger. I want to say happy birthday to all of y'all, and anyone else out there who was born on this last day of the year, December 31st, anywhere out there in the world, worldwide, internationally, and universally. All of y'all go ahead and turn up. But don't turn up too loud. Just turn up loud enough so everybody can hear you. Rock out, rock on and do the damn, the rock out. Rock on and do the damn, rock out. Rock on and do the damn thing. You do your thing, y'all. Represent the queens and kings. You do your thing, y'all. represent the queens and kings. Good things happen to those who wait. Great things happen to those who grind. And anything can happen to those who go for theirs. So go hard, go for yours, and go hard, go for yours. And I said, go hard, go for yours. And remember, yo, it's the 31st of December, yo. And now I'm going for the first of the year. But what are we going to do? Is our plate clear? Is our slate clear? That's what I should have said. Yo, are we well versed? Well read. Are we ready for the Freddie and Jason? It can get kind of horrific, but let's be specific. We don't really know what we want for the future. Well, actually, you should have wrote it down before they shoot you. And when I say shoot you, I don't mean with the gun. I mean that thing that will take away all of your fun, because different plans come up. They throw in monkey wrenches, and you got to be ready like you're fighting in trenches. And everything is going to be okay, but you got to make sure that you're planning to think, making things go your way, and stay always on your grind. So I got to go for yours. You can go for mine. Shine just like the bigger ball of fire in the sky. And I look up at the thing and I ask myself, why? Why do I had to lose my friends the year before? Why will I lose a little bit more in the upcoming years? Yeah, I shed a few tears and it makes me want to get a few beers and that just down them. But I don't want to drown my sorrows. I don't want to be in a position to have to borrow the good feelings that somebody else had for themselves. And I'm trying to be larger than some elves. It's Christmas time. Yeah, it just passed. But sometimes the bad feelings we had will last. Well, what can you reasonably expect from your haters? Will they ever try to get with you and make it greater, make it easier for you? Probably not. But will your lovers will come through and shoot they shot? Or will they ever be what you need them to be? And will you be the same to them? Well, listen, G, you got to give a little just to get a little. And if you won't want to give none, then it ain't fun. It ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right? You want to wag the tail, or should I say the tail wags the dog and see it through the smoke. Everything is going to work out fine, but you got to make sure that you put it in line. Okay. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. I love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. Oh, damn. I didn't say that. We will be back. We will be back. We will be back for the rest of the year. We'll be back. I hope to see you. We'll be back. Everything is going to work out. We'll be back. Yo, tomorrow, 2 a.m., we'll be back. Y'all have a good night, man. Be safe. I'm glad y'all made it to 2025. Hit the like button, share the show, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet. Peace to all my day ones, my everydays, and my brand news. Love y'all to death. Resuscitate y'all. Love y'all right back to life. So I'm going to holler back at you. Peace.